There are two ways to argue sports with these guys, and none of them work. The boys are back, the Naz and Wally Sports Hour on Zoomer Radio.
Good morning and welcome back to the Naz and Wally Sports Hour. I'm your host, Walter Rigabon. As usual, joining me, my co-host, Naz Marchese, and also Lou Franceschetti. And we got the opportunity this morning to talk about something I'm incredibly passionate about. And I came across a gentleman that inspired my passion a few years back, a gentleman by the name of Shawn Clement. If you've been listening to the Naz and Wally Sports Hour over the last few years, Shawn's been a good friend of the show, has come on from time to time and shared his passion and his insights. So we've got Shawn on the line today. We're also pleased to welcome one of Shawn's students, Edouard Montaz, who's in Paris, but the student has become the teacher. So Shawn Clement has a unique and inspiring way of looking at the game of golf. He's passed on that passion to Eduardo, who's in Paris, France this morning, and Eduardo has passed his passion and that knowledge on to so many other pupils. It's easier to do it today by way of social media. And this week, we're pleased and thrilled to announce the publishing of a book by one of Eduardo's pupils, Virgile Pace. The book is called Golf and the Grail, The Quest for Inspired Golf. It puts into words the teachings of the master, as I call him, Shawn Clement. So I'm thrilled to get into that and the whole discussion about golf, looking at it in a different way. Shawn, Happy New Year. How are you this morning?
Oh, man, nice to see you guys, or to be with you guys again. Happy New Year to all of you, and great to be with you this morning.
Interestingly enough, I should let our listeners know, Shawn is now the director of golf at the Royal Quebec Golf Club in Quebec City. So that's where Shawn is this morning. And we're pleased to welcome to the Naz and Wally Sports Hour, Eduardo Montaz. Eduardo, how are you this morning?
I'm feeling awesome, you guys. So happy to be here today with you. I've been listening to the show for a long time and all your interviews with Shawn, and I'm so pleased today to be with you guys.
And we're so thrilled to have you. Eduardo, I'll start with you. We're talking about a way of looking at the game of golf. One of your students has put that into words in a fascinating way. The book is called Golf and the Grail, The Quest for Inspired Golf. Very simply, tell us a little bit about your student, Virgile Pace, and tell us about the book and what is Inspired Golf.
Thank you for your wonderful presentation. Actually, Virgile is my student for the last 7 years. We met in Paris. He's living in Roma. And he came over to see me the same way I came to see Shawn a long time ago. And we fell in love as friends. And one day, Virgile told me something that changed my life. He said to me, videos are awesome. What you do with Shawn is awesome. But the book is eternity. So we started to work on this book for the last 4 years. And this book is unique because it is the pupil's book and not another book written by another teacher on how to play golf. You see, this book describes the two aspects, the two sides of the same middle, lightness and darkness, joys and pains, performing and complaining, enthusiasm and discouragement. That's why it's a wonderful book.
Shawn, I want to bring you into the conversation. You and I hooked pads. You know, I had the opportunity to think about it yesterday. I don't remember the first time, but I sort of think I caught you at the Richmond Hill Golf Learning Center, where you spent so many years. I went there to hit balls one day, and I was listening to you teach a student, and I was fascinated by your approach to the game and how you taught it in a different way. And you have become wisdom in golf. You've got millions of people who follow you around the world. Tell us about your first time you and Eduardo got the opportunity to discuss this inspired golf. How did that all come about?
That was pretty crazy, man. I had gotten a couple of emails from Edward, and I noticed that he was a very, very passionate individual. I mean, We've been working together now for over 10 years. I mean, this guy is an unbelievable teacher, coach. For anyone who's going to be in Paris or who's going to be in Europe and who wants to do something with their golf game, I mean, this guy is my number one centurion on this planet, and I couldn't be prouder to have him by my side. And so he says, listen, I want to come and see you. I want to come and learn from you. And, with all that enthusiasm and that passion, I said, all right, come on over. He stayed at my place in Toronto. And when he showed up at my doorstep, I looked at his golf swing and I was like looking at myself in the mirror. It was unbelievable. All of the knowledge that I had on YouTube was just being regurgitated back at me, and I knew I had somebody special in my hands, and it's been phenomenal ever since.
I'm gonna beg Naz and Lou's forgiveness. I'm just gonna follow this for one more question, and I'll Naz and Lou, I'll get you guys involved. I just got the opportunity to download the book last night from Amazon, or it was Apple iTunes, if I'm not mistaken. And it just struck me. It's a fascinating book if you're into it. The interesting thing the fascinating part about golf, it's a mystical sport in a way that no other sport is. And what the author here has managed to thread into the whole book is the whole mysticism of golf. And we talk about Ben Hogan, we talk about The Secret, we talk about Mo Norman. It reminds me of my favorite golf movie, The Legend of Bagger Vance, the great book, Golfing the Kingdom. It's all there. But Shawn and Eduardo, what I want you to share with our listeners, Shawn, you first, and then Eduardo, you guys have a different way of looking at golf. You have a different way of looking at the golf swing. It's not 93 different manuals sitting on a desktop. It's not hitting 1,000 balls at the range every Saturday and Sunday. I want you to share with our listeners golf. How do you play inspired golf? First Shawn and then Eduardo. Shawn?
Well, my favorite story is one of my favorite stories is Pinocchio, and I keep telling my students is you're already Pinocchio without the strings. You know, if what my forte is I've studied how the human machine works. I started with anatomy, and then with all of the doctors and neurologists that I've seen, I was pointed in the right direction, and I come to realize that, hey, your machine is self-preserving. It already knows what to do. It works at 40 million bits of information per second, and all you need is the right task, and the swing magically shows up. So it's not about you being defective. There is nothing defective about any of us out here, and we show you how amazing you function when you're turned on to the right tasks. And this is what we've been teaching for a long time. And then, the way that Virgil, Edward's student, and I'll let Edward lend in on that, the guy is an absolute brilliant writer. He's a brilliant historian, and how he brought all this together is just, I'm just eternally thankful for the two of them.
Eduardo, what's different about, we know we've got Shawn as the master. He's the Zen master, as I call him. He's just a fascinating guy. I mean, I've taken lessons from him in the past. I wish he was in Toronto still, but I wish him the best. He's doing great work in Quebec. Eduardo, the light bulb went off at you at some point in time. I read as much of the book last night as I could. I'm dying to get a hard copy of it. I want you guys to sign it at some point in time for me. It's going to take a valuable place in my library. But you suffered in golf. You're an unsuccessful golfer for 15 years, and then you got inspired. Tell us about that transformation.
I'm going to answer this on the quest, because you see, this book also is an adventure novel. You see, it tells the story of each and every one of us, our suffering, from Star Wars to Indiana Jones, through the legend of King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. You have all this in the book. It is always the same quest with the same steps to find the Grail. You see? Discouragement and the force that delay progression, the blindness and darkness, and nonetheless the call for adventure. That's what I had with Shawn. And then meeting my spiritual guide, which makes possible the initiation and the initiatory journey we talk about, to finally arrive to wisdom, self-fulfillment, and the will to share all of this with other quest companions. You see? So this book is a perfect and unique synthesis of wisdom in golf philosophy. Why it is perfect? It's perfect synthesis because it makes golf simple. Making simple what is complex is the true pedagogy for me and the true knowledge. The useful pedagogy and the useful knowledge, you see? Indeed, we found with Virgil from the very beginning that wisdom in golf pedagogy can be summarized in 2 words. You see, I talk about simple. 2 words. Consciousness and mastery. Consciousness of the human being and consciousness of planet Earth. And mastery of oneself and mastery of 5 elements. Ether, fire, air, water, and earth. So actually this book can also be read as a traité of Oriental philosophy. In a way, it follows the worldwide bestseller, Then and the Art of Chivalry, written by Eugène Riegel. And that's exactly what I want people to feel when they read this book. It's a quest. And in this quest, everyone can win.
Eduardo, I'm going to turn over to Naz. Naz, I'll give you an opportunity to comments, questions for Eduardo or for Shawn.
Shawn, what makes a good golf instructor?
It's, when the student comes to a golf instructor, he already has a hornet's nest above his head, and there's a few mad hornets in there. And unfortunately, more often than not, the instructor is going to shake that hornet's nest even worse and give that student a bunch of be careful, watch out. If you do this, something bad's going to happen. So you got to make sure. And it really isn't how we work. I mean, we really suck at body part positioning. Like I said, we're already Pinocchio without the strings. So I'll give you a clean example. There's this beautiful tools that are sold on the market called grass whips, or in the U.S. they call them sling blades, and they're simple little tools to cut the grass. That's the way we used to do it before lawnmowers were invented. And if you or anyone that you know get together and grab a couple of these tools and start cutting grass every day for the next week, you would become absolute experts at it. You would become really good at that particular task. And in essence, you would have learned a golf swing. So every one of us has done tasks such as hammering nails with hammers, or cutting down trees with an axe, or baseball or tennis, any sport or discipline. You've done something with your anatomy that is immediately relatable to golf, that we can plug right into your golf swing and get you very successful right out of the gate in the first lesson. And that's what our specialty is. When a beginner shows up at our door, within 10 minutes, there's a golf ball that's in the air, well struck on the center of the face, a jaw on the ground, and a brand new hooked golfer ready to rock.
I'll give you, Lou, your opportunity.
Good morning, gentlemen. With all this technology talk, and are there any new and upcoming golfers in Europe with your mind and set and what they're learning from you guys that we should be able to watch in the next few years?
Eduardo, I'll turn it over to you. Eduardo, I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, thanks so much. First of all, I want to say in front of everyone how much Shawn means to me, because not also he's the best teacher I've ever met in my life, but he's like my brother, my twin, my best friend. And he gave me the opportunity to free my mind with the golf swing. You see, because I was struggling so much like Virgil in my ways. And the more I was training, the less I was improving. And one day, after three years working in the shadow on Shawn's work, I went to see his stuff on YouTube, and I started to finally understand golf. And golf, I want to tell this to everyone. It's not about a golf swing. It's about, first of all, a target. When you have a target, you have to have a flight plan to attain this target. This flight plan will give you the right setup. This setup will give you the golf swing. So you see what I mean? Because all the guys I've been studying before Shawn, Lidbetter, Jim McLean, Jim Hardy, Peter Jacobson, and all these guys are good, but they talk about the golf swing. And like in archery, if you have no target to react to, you have no golf swing. So what Shawn did is combine a task to a target. And when people come to see us in Europe, they feel capable. You see what I mean? Capable, because they all feel that they suffer so much. And they finally feel that they can attain their dream. And that is the quest again. You see what I mean? And that's why Shawn is the master of golf today. And my dream, my biggest dream, you guys, is that tomorrow, Wisdom in Golf becomes the only and first pedagogy and philosophy in the world, because we see with Shawn every day people who are so happy. And what is more important than people happy with their golf?
On that note, Edouard, I want to just remind our listeners that Shawn doesn't keep his teaching philosophies a secret. He's on the internet. You want to check him out? It's www.wisdomingolf.com. It's there. Go check him out. It's got some fantastic material. He's got fantastic material on YouTube under Shawn Clement. He doesn't keep his knowledge to himself. He keeps it to everyone. And Eduardo, I've been a Shawn Clement disciple for years, and I just, in the book, I picked up a couple of quotes from the book referencing Shawn. Shawn pierced the secret. He is the guy who has found the light and who shows the way. Those Shawn, those are pretty compelling tributes. Tell our listeners where they can access more information on the quest for inspired golf. Let's just golf season isn't in the middle of the swing here in Southern Ontario, but we're starting to think about it. Just a reminder to our listeners where they can seek out your theories.
Well, just go to wisdomingolf.fr for France, and that's Edward's website, and you'll see all the information there on how to get the book. We're on Amazon.ca, but I mean, it's we're starting small, and were you able to find it easily yesterday, Wally?
I always find your material easily because I'm pretty diligent in having to look for it, Shawn. It's never been an issue getting into wisdomingolf.com or on your YouTube. I get your notices all the time when stuff gets released. Eduardo, I wanted to follow up on Lou's question. In terms of the professional golfers that you see out there, which ones would you say carry the philosophy of wisdom in golf?
There's many. For me, there's many, but the best advocate we can take today, and he doesn't maybe know it, but it's Tiger Woods. Because, you see, Tiger has 5 teaching philosophies, and he can change his swing when he wants because he's an athlete. But at the end of the rope right now, when he won the Masters in 2019, no coach. You see what I mean? A real reason to play for his kids, and no way anymore to resist with a lower body against the upper body. So he went back to the original golf for him. Reaching a target, work the ball, fade and draws, and let's see what happens. So for me, Tiger is still right now the best ambassador for us. In the second place, you have Bubba Watson for sure. And I hope that one day Shawn will meet with Bubba and Matt Wolff and all these kind of guys because they are reacting to a target, you see. But every player, listen to this, every golf player can come with us because that's the way the brain works. You see what I mean? So we can give complexity to everyone. And what we do with Shawn and making things simple. But for many people where we argue with, they think it is too simple to cut grass to a target. But that's golf. You see, if you see Sam Snead, Bobby Jones, Ben Hogan, all these guys, Mo Norman, my idol, there was no TrackMan, no cameras, no photography. There was a ball, grass, and a target. And Mo is actually the second, for me, the first guy who represents wisdom in golf by far, because he was a target-bound action player, and that is what we do.
We've been talking to Shawn Clement and Eduardo. Shawn, I'm going to give you 20 seconds to wrap it up. Unfortunately, our time is striking 10. Really quickly, Shawn, 10, 15 seconds, last words.
Well, to add to Lou's question, there are many in the shadows that are coming out right now because golf has been taught by positional stuff. You have to be careful and watch out and put your swing on video and everything else. And everyone is so used to that right now, but they're coming out. They're tired of it. They want to calm that hornet's nest, and they want to get back to the essence. And I was just talking to one tour player from Europe who won 3 times on the European Tour this week. He says, I just started watching your stuff, and it's just like when I was a kid, and that's what got me to the tour in the first place. And I lost my way with all this positional bullcrap, and I'm ready to come back. So I've started actually working with a tour player just this week.
We've been talking to Shawn Clement and Edouard Montaz. It's Wisdom in Golf. The book is Golf and the Grail, the quest for inspired golf. Shawn, you know as well as I do, I've only scratched the surface of what I'd love to chat about. I'm inspired. Probably going to go down to my basement and focus on some targets and hit some balls today from this inspirational talk. We'll have to get both you and Eduardo back soon and follow it up. Eduardo, thank you so much. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
Isn't it awesome? We've got to go. Unfortunately, we're out of time. For all our listeners, stay safe. Stay safe. We'll be back again next Sunday morning. Thank you so much for joining us.